So today I want to talk about something that I hold near and dear to my heart. And that is, of course, the Super Nintendo. Yes, I still have the original box for this thing. Now, this thing is finally 25 years old here in the US, and I just want to dedicate a whole video just talking about how much I love this thing, as well as the legacy this thing has left in the gaming community. And, yeah, look, I understand that the NES, was the saving grace. It pretty much saved console gaming from the brink in the 80s. But I feel like the SNES pretty much solidified Nintendo as a well-known franchise, as well as made gaming instead of, just this thing that, just did for, just kill time as a pastime into an actual lifestyle. The 90s pretty much made gaming into a lifestyle. And chilling in the front was the SNES, among other systems. But what makes this thing so great? Look, I understand. I'm clearly biased. I mean, this thing was my first console. This thing was my first console I ever owned, first console I ever played, ever. And, this thing, it's seen better days. I mean, this thing needs to cut back on the cigarettes because, my God, the nicotine yellow is just ridiculous. But people who didn't even start off with this thing still consider this as one of the greatest, I mean greatest systems ever made. But why? Well, let's talk about that. For starters, at the time the console was a powerhouse for a 16-bit system. It had 128 kilobytes of video RAM, 64 kilobytes of sound RAM, 8 audio channels, and stereo sound. A palette that contained over 32,000 colors, 256 of which can be displayed simultaneously. And of course, Mode 7! Doesn't seem like a big deal now, but graphics-wise, this was a huge step forward. Not to mention, each console came with an RF and AV cables and 2 controllers. 2! Yeah, this thing had everything. But whatever, that's just specifics, that's just technical mumbo jumbo. Who cares? That means nothing at the end of the day. What makes this console so great? Well, I'm glad you asked, deep conscious voice that only appears when I'm fighting my inner demons and trying to keep the rage at bay, hoping my next episode will be my last. It's the video games. I mean, what else could it be? The video games. It's what makes this console fantastic. Not only were these games revolutionary graphics-wise, in many regards, I mean, like, F-Zero and Star Fox, but the SNES is home to some of the greatest games ever made. And this console pretty much had every genre covered. RPGs, action games, fighting games, shoot-'em-ups, platformers, sports games. Hell, even movie tie-in games were freaking great on this thing. I'm not kidding. With the likes of Killer Instinct, Chrono Trigger, Final Fantasy III, Super Metroid, A Link to the Past, Mega Man X, and the list goes on. There are too many to count, but hey, here's a short list of some other amazing titles on this thing. Oh shit, did I say short? I meant huge! Not only were every single one of these games great, they had lasting appeal, which is why we still talk about them today. I mean, check any top 10, top 100, top whatever the hell list of best games of all time, and I'm pretty much guaranteeing you're going to see at least a handful, maybe a ton of SNES exclusives on that list. So yeah, this console has a shit ton of games. I mean, that's an understatement. But to appease the gods of Nintendo, and before I end this video, I need to talk about one more thing. That is, of course, the pack-in title with the Super Nintendo. Super Mario World. You want to know why I love video games? It's because of this game. I was, 3 years old and I could finally hold a controller in my hands? And this is the cartridge plugged into the top of the console. Not only is this game considered by many to be the best 2D platformer ever made, but this was my first experience with a video game ever. I don't know whether to consider myself lucky or cursed, but from that day on, I became obsessed with video games. I mean, it was an addiction. Super Mario World is a perfect mix of adventure, exploration, action, running, and jumping. Compared to Super Mario Bros. 3, it looks like a downgrade because it appears to have less worlds and less power-ups. But if you include secret levels, secret exits, secret worlds having levels that were just far bigger than Super Mario Bros. 3, Give me a second. I mean, this world was chock full of content. On top of that, vibrant visuals, a freaking memorable soundtrack, a tone of mystery and intrigue that shifted from happy-go-lucky to the pits of hell, and you get yourself a full package. But what about the gameplay? Well, the controls are buttery smooth, and while we do have less power-ups than SMB3, it narrowed it down to the necessities: Fire Flower and a cape that, if used correctly, granted the ability to fly. Also, just to add on top of that, it was the first time we were introduced to Yoshi, a dinosaur companion. Not only was this hip reptile a loyal friend that has become a mainstay in the series, Yoshi's corresponding colors allowed you to do some cool tricks with him. Green Yoshi was the standard one, whose abilities corresponded with the color of shells he ingested. Red Yoshi spit out fireballs no matter what shell. Yellow Yoshi had a sweet ground pound ability, and Blue Yoshi sprouted wings and actually flew. He also poops out 1-ups if you feed him enough. I mean, is there anything this little guy can't do? But of course, his best and defining feature is of course his tongue. He uses it to capture and devour enemies. I mean, just look how cool this thing is. I mean, wait, what the fuck? Alright, I definitely missed this as a kid, but in order to stick out his tongue, Mario sucker punches him in the back of the skull. Not to mention, he also absorbs a hit that can kill Mario, and you can sacrifice him to jump higher. I didn't realize Yoshi was a poster child of animal abuse. If only Yoshi knew what an asshole Mario would be, he would have let him die as a baby a long time ago. I mean, look at that glazed look in his eye. The never-ending hell he has to go through every frickin' day, knowing some fat-ass plumber is gonna probably dispose of him at the bottom of a ravine.
In the happy-go-lucky.
Bottom line, Super Mario World is one of my favorite games ever made, and it happens to be the very first one I ever played. And yes, that may seem like, oh, that's just nostalgia. No, I have a lot of people on the internet backing me up on this. That this isn't nostalgia. This is just perfect programming, perfect music, perfect level design, perfect gameplay, perfect freaking sprites. Everything just looks vibrant and beautiful. This, along with the console itself, is just fucking amazing. Well, that's the video. And yeah, whenever I look at this console, I just have nothing but fond memories of my childhood. And honestly, looking back, there's only really one thing I could really say. Damn, my childhood was awesome. Now before I go, I just want to mention one more thing. There is one game that I completely left out of this video, and intentionally, and it just happens to be my favorite game of all time, and it's also on the SNES. But that'll get its own video, hopefully soon. Well, but for now, thank you for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys later.